What's good, YouTube? It's the girl Ashley Style, and I'm back with another video. I don't know if you know this, but I used to run another YouTube channel. I still do. It's called The Frock Flip, so this video will probably be posted on both accounts. But I decided to include it here because YouTube has changed a lot of the way that it works, and this is one of the things that encompasses me, so I'm thinking about just bringing frock flips to this channel. So what a frock flip is basically a refashion. If you've never heard of a refashion before, it's basically where you take something and refashion it into something else. It's a sustainability effort. It's a way to get multiple uses out of a garment or a piece of furniture or whatever that it didn't have before. So it gives something new life for you, or it's a way to make something work that's not working. So for today's frock flip, which I recorded, I don't do a lot of frock flipping anymore, but I am an avid refashionista and thrifter, so I do a lot of refashioning, or did. This week I refashioned a garment, and I recorded some of the footage, so I decided to include it here on my channel. So basically I had this romper that I got from American Eagle. I think it might have been $6, I think. Unfortunately, I have double D's, so the romper never, I didn't always have these double D's. I used to be a little bit smaller, you know, so I was able to button it. Now that these are double Z's, honey, it don't button. It just doesn't. I've tried many times in many ways, so I wasn't able to wear the romper. And during the summer, all I wear is rompers and dresses because it's so hot. So I knew that I could probably breathe new life into the romper, so I decided to make the romper a two-piece coordinating set. So stay tuned if you're interested in seeing how I did that. Okay, so the first thing we're gonna do is lay everything out. I was really struggling with a place to put this so you guys could see, and then I could easily do the work that I need to do. So now I'm grabbing my fabric cutting scissors. The other scissors are for paper. So I'm going to cut the bodice from the bottom, essentially the top from the bottom. And you want to cut as close as you can to the short, because essentially the short is already a finished item. So you want to make sure you don't have raw fabric on top of the short. The top doesn't really matter because you're going to do a different finishing technique on it. So if you cut very close and neat to the short, then you won't have to worry about doing any additional finishing steps. So now I've cut through the top layer, and now I'm just going to cut through the bottom layer. And I'm trying to be as neat as I possibly can and cut as close to the drawstring casing as I possibly can. So once you have officially separated the top from the bottom, the short is basically pretty much almost done. Now what I'm going to do here, just to make sure it is as neat and clean as possible, I'm going to take my smaller shears and trim any additional fabric that is raw, that is peeking above the drawstring casing. So that's what I'm doing here. Trimity, trimity, trim. So that's it. It's pretty much done. Just making it look neat and clean. Throw the shorts to the side, and now we're going to work on the freaking top. So for me, because this thing does not fit around my boobs, you can't really, there are ways you can add additional fabric to this, but I decided to take a different route. And the first thing you're going to do is see me grab a ruler, because I'm going to make this a tie front. In order to do that, you are going to cut a triangular shaped piece of fabric from the top part, only the top layer. You'll see what we do to the bottom layer in a second. So you want to measure so that it's equal on both sides. I'm just showing you my marking pen. I'm using the Mark Be Gone, which I'll later have to change and use the chalk because the fabric is so dark. So I decided to cut it at about 4 inches up. So I marked that on both sides. Also, you got to remember, like, I'm usually doing this in a very much rush, and it doesn't have to be like so neat. So I do my markings, then I'm going to take the chalk and draw a line that goes from that marking of 4 inches down to the center front, the very bottom of the center front. And obviously you do this on both sides. Once that's done, you're gonna grab ye old fabric cutting scissors. Any moment now, I'm gonna grab them scissors. Okay, now I have the scissors in hand, and I'm going to cut from that center front to that 4-inch marking. Do the same on the other side. Now you're going to see what I do to the back side, or the bottom layer, and I'm going to tell you why I made the choices I made, and you can definitely make different choices because, you know, it's your design. You can do it however you like. So basically at this point, now you have what will be your tie front. So for the back, I have back fat. So I like to go a little lower in the back than I do in the front, just so it can cover. So I'm just toying around with how long I want the back to be at the moment. So you should really use a ruler and make markings here, like a 6 curve if you have it. I just kind of freehanded it and created a curved hem. Now, if you are, you know, wanting to be as perfect as possible, you will draw this shape before cutting. But, you know, I'm just winging it because I'm going to fold it over and top stitch it anyway. So now you see there's a little rounded hem. At this point, I'm going to stop and try it on so that I can make sure that I'm happy with the way the fabric is hitting in the back. So based on how it looked when I tried it on, I'm gonna make a little adjustment here and make it a little bit shorter because it was too long. And now you can see it obviously looks much better, much more uniform. So now we're going to finish the front part of the tie front. So essentially you're just going to fold over the front. I promise you, if I was just doing this without recording it, I would not be doing all the proper steps. But what you should do, if the proper steps are to fold under the front edge 1/4 of an inch, press it, then fold over an additional 1/4 of an inch and press it again, and then top stitch it. Now, I'm going to do those steps very, very jankily. So here I'm really just doing the first turnover, 1/4 of an inch, and as you can see, as I get further and further along in the back, you know, the 1/4 goes out of the window. Again, you should not do what I've done. You should do better than me and be very precise and fold it over 1/4 of an inch. I was really in a rush and about to run out the door with this on, so I just, you know, made it work. Okay, so after getting both turns of the hem pressed, you are going to top stitch it. So this is me getting ready to put it on the machine and top stitch it. So once you finish this step, you're basically done. So now I'm going to show you guys the finished results.